Welcome. Today we will explore the nature of the mind and our relationship to thinking. I invite you to journey with me through this contemplation on the mind, thinking, and discovering who we are beyond the constant chatter of thoughts. Our exploration may reveal liberating insights into the freedom available when we cease identifying with the contents of the mind. When the mind experiences a state devoid of thoughts, that is meditation. Two states render the mind devoid of thought: deep sleep and meditation. In meditation, if you remain aware while thoughts vanish, it is indeed meditation. Conversely, when thoughts vanish and you become unaware, it transforms into deep sleep. Deep sleep and meditation share similarities and differences. One similarity is the absence of thought in both states. One dissimilarity is that in deep sleep, awareness also fades, whereas in meditation, awareness persists. Meditation thus equals deep sleep plus awareness. It brings relaxation akin to deep sleep while maintaining full wakefulness, opening the door to mysteries. What is mind? Mind is not a substance but an event. A substance possesses materiality, whereas an event is merely a process. A substance is akin to a rock, whereas an event is akin to a wave, an existence devoid of substantiality. It resembles the occurrence between the wind and the ocean, a process, a phenomenon. Firstly, understand that the mind is a process, akin to a wave or river, without any inherent substance. Without substance, it can vanish without a trace. When a wave merges into the ocean, what remains? Nothing, not even a trace. Similarly, those who comprehend assert that the mind is like a bird soaring into the sky. No footprints are left behind, not even a trace. The bird flies without leaving any marks. The mind is simply a process. In reality, there is no mind, only thoughts, moving so swiftly that they create an illusion of continuous existence. One thought follows another, and the gap between them is so minuscule that the interval between one thought and the next is imperceptible. Thus, two thoughts blend into continuity, and this continuity gives rise to the illusion of a mind. There are thoughts, but no mind. Just as there are electrons, but no matter. Thought is the electron of the mind. It is akin to a crowd, which exists and yet does not exist in another sense. Only individuals exist, but together, they create the illusion of unity. A nation exists and yet does not exist, only individuals are present. Individuals are the electrons of a nation, a community, or a crowd. Thoughts exist, but the mind does not exist, it is merely an appearance. Delve deeper into the mind, and it dissolves. Then, there are thoughts, but once the mind vanishes, and only individual thoughts persist, many mysteries are immediately resolved. Firstly, you realize that thoughts are like clouds, appearing and dissipating, while you are the boundless sky. When there is no mind, you perceive that you are no longer entangled in thoughts, they traverse through you like clouds passing through the sky, or the wind rustling through the trees. Thoughts pass through you, unhindered by obstacles. Your sky is infinitely open, thoughts come and go. As you begin to sense that thoughts come and go while you watch, mastery over the mind is attained. The mind cannot be controlled in the conventional sense, primarily because it does not truly exist. Furthermore, who would control the mind? Because nobody exists beyond the mind, and when I say nobody exists, I mean that nobody exists beyond the mind, a nothingness. Who will control the mind? If somebody is controlling the mind, then it will be only a part, a fragment of the mind controlling another fragment of the mind. That is what the ego is. Mind cannot be controlled in this manner. It does not exist, and there is no one to control it. Inner emptiness can observe but cannot control. It can perceive but not control. However, the act of observation itself becomes the form of control, and the mind dissolves. Imagine running frantically on a dark night, fearing that someone is following you. Yet, that someone is nothing but your own shadow, and the faster you run, the closer the shadow clings to you. The swiftness of your running makes no difference, the shadow remains. When you eventually halt and gaze deeper into the shadow, it vanishes because the shadow is non-existent, it is merely an absence of light. The mind is nothing more than the absence of your presence. When you sit silently and peer deeply into the mind, it simply disappears. Thoughts will remain, they are existential, but mind will not be found. Moreover, once the mind vanishes, a second revelation emerges: you recognize that thoughts are not yours. They come and go, occasionally pausing within you, but they do not originate from you. Have you ever observed that not a single thought has sprung from your being? Not one thought has emerged from you, they always arrive from the outside. They are not your own, they are rootless and homeless, hovering around. Sometimes, they rest within you momentarily, like a cloud resting atop a hill. Then, they move on of their own accord, you need not intervene. By simply watching, you achieve control. The term control is not ideal because words tend to be shallow. Words are a product of the mind and the realm of thoughts. Control is not ideal because there is no one to control and no one to be controlled. Nevertheless, as a temporary concept, it aids in understanding a specific occurrence. As you observe deeply, the mind comes under control, you become the master. Thoughts persist, but they no longer dominate you. They cannot affect you, they simply come and go, and you remain unaffected, much like a lotus flower amidst rainfall. Raindrops fall on the petals but slide away without making contact. The lotus remains untouched. Thoughts cannot be halted, not that they do not cease, but they cannot be forced to cease. They cease naturally. No mind does not arise by stopping thinking. When the thinking is no more, no mind is. The very effort to stop will create more anxiety, it will create conflict, it will make you split. You will be in a constant turmoil within. This is not going to help. And even if you succeed in stopping it forcibly for a few moments, it is not an achievement at all, because those few moments will be almost dead, they will not be alive. You may feel a sort of stillness, but not silence. Because a forced stillness is not silence. Underneath it, deep in the unconscious, the repressed mind goes on working. So, what can be done? This is the pertinent question. Observe. Do not attempt to stop. There is no need to take any action against the mind. Initially, who would undertake such an endeavor? It would entail one part of the mind struggling against another, absurd. It is a foolish game that can drive you to madness. Do not endeavor to halt the mind or thinking, simply observe it, allow it. Grant it complete freedom. Let it race as fast as it desires, without any attempt at control. You just be a witness. There is nothing inherently wrong with the mind or thinking. It is a beautiful process, akin to other natural processes. Just as clouds drift across the sky, why not thoughts move across the inner sky? Observe with deep reverence. Witness the subtle nuances of the mind, its sudden shifts and graceful turns. Observe its rapid leaps and bounds, the games it plays, the dreams it weaves, its imagination, its memories, and the myriad projections it creates. Watch. Stand at a distance, uninvolved, and gradually, you will sense gaps, intervals emerging. One thought departs, and another has yet to arrive, creating a gap. One cloud passes, and another approaches, leaving a gap. In those gaps, you will, for the first time, catch glimpses of no mind. You will savor the taste of no mind, call it the essence of Zen, Tao, or Yoga. In those brief intervals, the sun shines. Suddenly, the world becomes a realm of mystery, as all barriers dissolve, the screen before your eyes vanishes. You perceive with clarity, with penetrating insight. The entire existence becomes transparent.